that another artist that wants to start a new beef with him can use that's not fresh and new versus what you talk about Jay-Z. It's there's probably 10 to 20 years worth of stuff that as far as him being with Rock Nation and things where he's been able to cover a conversation and people not being able to hold him accountable because of his cachet and stuff like that. So Drake would have a lot more things to use, as I kind of referenced in other videos. But with that being said, let's get into this.
Profound to some of y'all. I know some of y'all think that the person who's the better battler is the person that's the better lyrically. I actually don't think that's the case at a certain level. At a certain level, you have to have the entry fee, which means as long as you could rap to a certain level, you're good. It doesn't matter if you're the best rapper. What I personally believe rap battles are these days is a mudslinging contest, which means the less people know about you, like, for example, you know nothing about it. Like, what is Kendrick doing right now? You have no fucking clue. Like, we haven't seen Kendrick in months. Like, we don't know what he's doing, right? So it's easy for him to basically just talk about you when you're in the media every day. You're outside every day. Jay-Z, he's led a public life for the most part for 30 years or 40 years, whatever. There's a lot that Drake or anyone else could talk about him. He's been in these highly public relationships. Same with Drake. That makes them vulnerable and susceptible to all type of ways that people could attack him. So I know people want to be like, man, if you couldn't, well, Kendrick, Jay-Z's. I'm saying that any level of rapping that Jay could attain in a battle, Drake could attain. What ultimately, if they ever battled, it was going to come down to who could say the most. Like, Jay's obviously going to use certain angles, right? I'm a boss. You're just never the boss like me. I'm a billionaire.
Which I think is a lame angle. Like, it's not going to stick when Drake is just as successful and been dominating 16 plus years.
I know you think you're comparing, but you're still a little nigga to me. Like, pretty much.
Like, that shit's just like goofy shit. Like, I feel like you got to come with stronger shit than that. Like, that's some old shit that was a cool flex in the 2000s, bro. Like, especially when the guy's like, yeah, he might have been your predecessor, but at this time, like, bro, you can't deny how big he is at this point. Like, it's almost like egotistical to even have that, like, that kind of bar when you like, bro, the nigga has been doing crazy numbers, like just as big or bigger than you, like, for longer, consistently. Like, what are we talking about?
Shot little nigga him the whole time. Drake could basically,
like, and it's a plenty of Drake conversation we can get into. This is one of the ones I wanted to bring up in the last video, but it got too long. Like, the Kaepernick situation, like I said, it's a lot of situations where people haven't held him accountable. Like, and if he got into a rap battle, like, how that could potentially look nasty between, like, you talk about of the culture doing things that wasn't of the culture, doing things that was always like backdoory type of behavior, even to people that was like had nothing to do with you. But you seen the deal, you seen something like that. Even with the, like, I'm gonna get into this. I don't think this video addressed it, where I think it was damn, what's the guy so deaf? Jermaine Dupri, where he was going to potentially do something with the Super Bowl and the NFL. Jay-Z supposedly talked him down, like, man, don't do it. We in support of Kaepernick, and then got into the door and did it himself. Like, no, Jay-Z, like, bro, it's a lot of shit you can get into the conversation with him being nasty, but we'll watch a clip of this, and they kind of break down in a good little summary.
Right, because there's two parts of protesting.
Action to sit was later lifted to taking a knee.
You go outside and you protest, and then the company or the individual say, I hear you. What do we do next?
We have cops that are murdering people. We have cops in the SFPD that are blatantly racist. And those issues need to be addressed.
For me,
and I'll just say, this is simple about freedom of speech, bro. I don't stand during a pledge or the national anthem because I don't believe America has ever done right by black people. So why would I ever champion America when they borderline view us as Americans? So this was borderline about freedom of speech. And as a black man, like, you pretty much were shitting on another black man trying to get his points off about the powers that be and who could be accountable and whatnot. So it wasn't like I get it, the knee and shit became politicized and shit like that. But at the end of the day, this was about a freedom of speech conversation. And Jay-Z decided to be how Malcolm X say, they'll pull another black man to use against another black man to make it seem like it's right, when they really is he a puppet for them. And a lot of he's pretty much he's being handled to cause a dissonance between the communities, because now there's two black people arguing, even though one of those guys is really just a white person takes and shit like that, and is you being used as a puppet or a mask for those persons, for that people's takes, and you being used as a middleman to cause disruption to some type of progress, which Jay-Z did for Kaepernick at least, and for people that felt the same about Kaepernick.
For me, it was like actionable item. What are we gonna do with it?
Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything.
What are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? So reach millions and millions of people, or we get stuck on Colin not having a job.
Jay-Z partnered with the National Football League, the same mega corporation that employs those involved in murder, domestic violence, and countless other offenses, but sees a disproportionate issue at hand with silently taking a knee on the sidelines. What struck me was this.
Did you kneel and would you stand?
What?
Did you kneel and would you stand?
Okay. I think we passed kneeling.
This is eerily similar to what Malcolm Jenkins, co-leader of the Players Coalition and hijacker of Cap's movement, said. I really want to get this conversation to move away from the anthem. I think it has served its purpose, which I have to ask. Did we solve police brutality? Another component, as Kiara Kelly wrote, I really didn't like how Jay-Z said we are beyond kneeling and we need some actionable items. First actionable item. You shouldn't lose your job for exercising your First Amendment right. Still, what changed for Hope?
If you were his sports agent, Jay-Z is the sports agent for Colin Kaepernick, and before this all happened, he came to you and said, I want to do this. Would you have said, do it, don't do it? What would you have counseled the brother?
Oh, 100% do it.
He said this to Van Jones, CNN anchor, also under the Rock Nation umbrella. On Saturday Night Live, Jay wore the limited edition I Stand With Cap Nike jersey at a Miami concert in 2017. He told the audience, I want y'all to understand, when people are kneeling and putting their fists up in the air and doing what they're doing, it's not about the flag, it's about justice. It's about injustice. And that's not a black or white thing, it's a human issue.
I don't knock what he's doing, and hopefully he doesn't knock what I'm doing.
Have you talked to him about bringing him into this project?
Oh, we had a conversation.
Let's pause here. There has been no one more forthright in helping serve the people than Cap and the First Lady of the movement, Nessa Diab. So when Nessa says Colin never spoke to Jay ahead of that big deal being done, and they never included him in any discussion, then on top of which Cap's attorney Mark Garagos reaffirmed to TMZ, Jay's team tried putting out the fire. But Jamil.
So I said, a lot of people are naive to public matters that Jay-Z's done. Like even selling out Brooklyn to the Nets. Like he's done a lot of shit where you could hold him accountable for if we been. Well, we're gonna get back into some of these conversations that's Ag talking about.
He say, listen, I passed you mad quick. You basically, been trying to ride my wave to some extent. Like there's ways he could try to like flip it in his own way. Ultimately, let's be honest. We've seen a couple rap battles before. This shit would definitely get determined on who could expose some shit about each other. Like that's what it's gonna be. Like let's keep it 100. And I think both of them. I think why Drake.
I think Ak is right about that. It is about who can expose more, which that's the angles I've been talking about in the podcast, because there's a lot of skeletons in Jay-Z closet, but there's also who's going to be able to put those things together in a witty way, in a conversational piece way. And we've seen Drake been able to do that since 2024. Like he's going to say shit that gets people talking, get people going. And whether you could talk about whether he won or lost, don't act like people weren't having conversations about the things that he was saying, whether the validity or not of them. So there was plenty of conversations, all post the battle as well, that just cryptic things that he was talking about, people trying to dissect and break down. So like, I think where it comes to even with the Iceman shit, like how people breaking down like, oh, he said this about this, or he said there's like 40 to 50 different bars and different things that he was saying. Like it was one I haven't even seen people talking about. I think they said they cooking something up. They say, what did they just smell? Or what did I just smell? Or something like that. Or you smell, or what is the smell? And he was like, he pretty much was saying whatever the Rock used to say, the wrestler, you could smell what's cooking. But he put it in like a clever little bar. And he was like, what they say they just smell? That's what he said. He said, what they say they just smell. And obviously the Rock, like, that's like, that's where that comes from. And he's talking about Rock Nation. So it's like, he got a bunch of clever shit and knows how to push it together, even like witty, like in a way that people could laugh at it. And I think people underestimate that as well. With the Metro Boomin shit, shut your ass up and go do some drums, or like there's plenty of examples of that. So when it comes to the things that's actually that could be used against each other, not only do I think Drake has more ammo to use, I think he's going to be more clever on how he's going to go about it versus like what Axe said, like Jay-Z is going to try to big bro him and shit like that. It's like, I don't think that's going to be the defense or the counterattack. That I don't think it's going to be as lethal as either Jay-Z or Jay-Z fans thinking it's going to be, if I'm being honest.
I think unless Drake has a battle that would favor him on a career level, which means I didn't like the Kendrick battle necessarily, even though I'm glad he did take it. If he won that battle, there was no upside. Like, no one would give Drake extra props for beating Kendrick. I'm sorry, Kendrick is just not one of those ones. And when I mean not one of those ones, like, yes, maybe like in that respect thing, but who gives a fuck? I know some of y'all like live and die with this like respect.
I slightly disagree with him just because of how like the media darling that he is. If Drake would have straight up like slaughtered him and there was no conversation, it would have been like the Meek Mill times 10. It's like, damn, nobody seen that coming. So no, I agree with him. Like, it might not have been much on it. I don't know. I'm in the middle ground. It's like, I think there is what he's really trying to say is there's more on the meat or the more on the bone as far as like if you beat Jay-Z being considered the number one guy, this guy that's Mr. Untouchable, like, but let's not act like Kendrick's not like number 2 or 3 on that list as far as like the same thing they're saying about Jay. So yeah, I get Ack on that, but I'm also kind of disagree with him as well.
The point is, Kendrick wasn't close to his level of relevance. There's no fans of Kendrick that you were gonna win over.
And post beef, that makes more sense. I get what he's saying, especially post beef. It's like when you start looking at it, it's like you already had the same demographic of fans he had. He was probably sharing more of your fans than you was actually sharing of his. Like, and then when you talk about dominating the charts and stuff, I mean, it's the same argument now. It's like, I mean, you killed the metaphorical GOAT of a lot of these OGs and shit like that. So that may like earn you something that's different. But outside of that, I mean, Drake is still arguably like not even close. We were just talking about how like all of Jay-Z's like number ones is like solos and stuff like that. Then you talk about, I think they said only 5 billion. He only has 5 songs charting over 1 million or 1 billion or something like that, which is like not the greatest. It's kind of looked at as a certain way. And then there's a couple other. There's one other thing I want to show. It's kind of funny. So I found this was funny just because we were just talking about this on the podcast last night, where it's like 5 songs over 1 billion, and this is his biggest solo song. So I'm assuming 1 billion is not the craziest threshold to hit when you're supposed to be one of those guys. And this is just an example of like the crowd engagement. Like, I don't want to play the music because I know that's gonna get copyrighted, but like it's pretty dead engagement. Like the performance kind of doesn't sound as, I'm not gonna say it don't sound as great, but he do sound a little older for sure. But you can see it's kind of just still, and this is supposed to be one of his biggest hits. Like niggas supposed to be jumping, going crazy, but that's just not like what Tory just tried to say in the last video I made. The dopamine hits that niggas try to act like he has, bro. Like, people overgas his catalog to me, and this is his shit right here. And like, even the stands look you dead in the eyes. He could beat everybody in the verses, but then you look at how the crowd's like actually vibing, bro. Like, good girl going bad, the city still for them. My Like, it's cool, it's cool head nods, but it's not like, bro, this is like Tupac, this is Biggie's, like, this is Drake, this is Kanye, this is Wayne. Like, bro, when them niggas greatest slaps come on, bro, it's a different energy. They talk about Wayne performance, but hey, whatever. Talk about Wayne can't perform, but that sounds a little out of breath to me if I say anything. But let's wrap it up.
Winning would be like it's winning the Respect Olympics. Okay. So his career couldn't benefit from it. So I personally feel like anybody who Drake should ever battle with now, it should be something that is an actual prize, which means if he wins, his shit could go up even more. And no, not in your respect book, but actually, because right now he's at the top of the mountain. And I don't think his shit would go up. You wouldn't gain more relevance for beating Jay-Z. But I guess the respect level might go up. But I will say, I do actually think that Jay-Z is an easier matchup for Drake than Kendrick was. I think Kendrick has lived a private, personal life. He has tried to give on face value that he's a super pro-black for the culture type of guy. He's not Jay-Z, who, yes, Jay-Z is kind of like quote unquote for the culture, but I could list off 30 things now where he's a hypocrite. Like, Jay-Z has a very colored and checkered history that if you were dissing him in a battle, you could pull from mad things and get at him about it. And that's what makes him.
Yeah. Once again, act 100%, right? We could beat this horse dead, but I keep bringing new shit every time. I brought up the Supreme Team of Nasty 5 that he's dealt with, and actually it's the sixth man of being Marina and Brockovich. Then you get into shit like we talk about the Kaepernick shit. Then we forgot to mention Tidal and how he sold out all the artists with Tidal. So let's watch this as an example. Then I'm talking about this.
No disrespect to E. Nah.
That's true.
They hated us. Radio hated us. Ebro said we ruined. No disrespect to Ebro. He said we ruined hip hop radio. 50 Cent. Our doors was closed to a lot of motherfuckers. So when motherfuckers like Fab or your favorite rapper, Jay, or Khaled is hot, yeah, let's sign Khaled over here. Get his punk ass over here. That's how no disrespect to him, but that's how Jay that's how Jay's probably saying. You know, Brooklyn niggas ass, get his punk ass over here. You think Jay's a nice guy behind the scenes? Just from Marcy. From Marcy. Yo, get that nigga over here. Tell that nigga come work for me. That's how Jay is. Even when what's the streaming service? Tidal, right?
Tidal, yeah.
He did Tidal. He had Nicki. He had Khaled, all these people, right? Look up and see what Jay-Z sold Tidal for, and nobody got no money? Look up that.
So, I mean, it's definitely conversations out there that could be had about Jay-Z being nasty. And matter of fact, we'll actually look it up before we close this out and see how much he sold it for. So he says that he sold it for around $300 million. There was some confusion about it being around 350 or 302, but it was around 300 million off the backs, you know, being about for artists by artists type thing, and how he sold them. So pretty much sold all of that, like lies and things, just to sell that to a corporation and not break off any of the artists that helped build that with him, with all of, you know, the platforms and things that, you know, he used to have those videos in the beginning and built that equity with the fans and things like that. And then not only did he do that, the nigga backdoored and I think actually got on to Square's like board or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So like Jay-Z, like he Tony Ayo referred, he from Marcy. He do a lot of like things that's hood like shit where it's like backdoorish, like looking out for himself. Like he was a grimy kind of guy, and that's the era he grew up on, and that's the era that Tony Yayo is referring to. So when you see some of these things, it's like, yeah, he's been doing a lot of backdoor shit. That's what Dame Dash don't fuck with. That's why a lot of niggas don't fuck with him based on the things that he's done. And Nicki Minaj and called him out and stuff like that. So, Yeah, no, he has a crazy history along with like a crazy amount of people that he fucks with that's nasty as well. So I said it might be Drake's easiest battle if they do get into it, because I also think Drake is just as clever to use these things that Jay-Z has done to like as lethal ammo and actually be able to create clever bars and stories and paint like really good narratives inside of the music outside of the I'ma just big bro you to death type shit. But with that being said, man, make sure y'all like and subscribe, man. As always, it's been a pleasure. Y'all take it easy. Peace.